We are focusing today near the head of a run where fast water is on the far side and there's slack water on the near side. The fast water scours the riverbed just beyond our camera view, but where we're viewing is right on the edge of the seam between the fast and slack water. This is a place where lots of light debris settles and where some fish choose to sit, as they can be in slower water for energy conservation, but at the same time be close enough to fast water so that good amounts of food come to them. We're going to follow some fish and see how quickly they choose whether to eat or reject something. This will help emphasize how fast or observant we need to be as anglers in order to hook fish that are relatively wary. Here we find one whitefish really close up. There are other fish feeding in the background as well too though. This one actually keeps moving so close to the camera that I have a really hard time staying back from him. Whitefish can be notorious for their quick rejections and subtle bites. That is, they can be really tough to detect. So let's focus on this guy and see what we can learn about its feeding behavior as we watch it going through the feeding motions. As we resume the video, we're going to watch as this whitefish grabs what looks to be a piece of wood and then spits it out relatively fast. Why does a fish take interest in this item? Does it look like a nymph to the fish or have something on it edible that we can't see? I'm not too sure, but the important thing is, how long does a fish have that item in its mouth? In other words, how long before it figured out it was something not good to eat, such as a fly pattern would be, and would that be enough time for you to react in both detecting the take and setting the hook? Well, watching this, it takes 0.2 of a second. Now, are you fast enough to react in that time? And now it's going to spit it out. Let's keep watching more of this behavior to see how fast fish do reject items. As we continue to watch, here we'll see the whitefish grab what again appears to be a piece of bark or something like that, and then spits it out. We're going to freeze it just as it picks it up. Now this piece of wood looks very much like a nymph. Visually I can see why it might go after this object, but it takes it in, seems to break it apart with its mouth in the process, and then we'll see the shards actually float away underneath the fish after we resume play. Again, was there a feeding purpose to this, such as maybe there was something edible attached to it that we can't see? We can't really know, but the important thing to glean from this, or that we want to look at in this case, is how fast did the whitefish grab it and then spit it out again? Again, it's a mere 0.2 of a second. But let's continue observing. Now here we go again. The fish goes after something just above its position, something that's small and silvery. I'd almost compare it to a couple of silvery beads that are kind of attached together. But it's going to take them in and spit them out very quickly, seemingly not liking what it finds. This time it's going to take 0.6 of a second to complete the action. And there it goes. Let's check another example here. Here we have a number of fish actively feeding, both in close range and further back in the background. But let's watch the fish that's to the left center of the screen and see what it does. Aside from a number of items it seems to be chasing, the white fish goes after a small object that again looks like a couple of small silvery beads, which on closer examination are actually a pair of air bubbles on a small green object, perhaps vegetation. It will take it in a moment, then it will eject it pretty much undisturbed, that is, not broken up or anything like that, and we will see the item drift past on the fish's far side. This all occurs in a matter of 0.3 of a second. And now we see the item slowly drift behind the fish downstream. With these takes and rejections occurring so fast, that means you have to be able to detect the hit and react to it in less than 0.3 of a second approximately. Usually the average human reaction is close to that, about 0.25 seconds. That is the amount of time it takes a human eye to detect something, for the brain to process the information, and then for the brain to tell the arm or the body to do something. But then there's about another 1/10 of a second for the movement of the arm to actually translate into a hook set at the fly. When fish reject a fly pattern, the odds are clearly in favor of the fish, and can explain why when fish are not firmly committed to your fly, it can be a huge struggle to hook them, and you may always feel like you're just one step behind the fish. The whitefish is feeding very actively in this segment now. We'll see it moving around quite a bit. Now here the whitefish noses its snout into the debris on the bottom and quickly pulls out a long cylindrical collection of sticks, which may be a cased caddis of some form. Whether the fish manages to pull out a caddis larva out of its housing, I'm not too sure, but it drops the sticks back down with the stick cluster pretty much still intact in less than 2/10 of a second. And then we'll see it pretty much goes back to its regular routine of feeding. Whitefish, maybe more than other types of fish, have commitment issues when feeding. They sample a lot of items, but they also reject a lot. Not all takes or hits you feel are the same though. Some are solid and some are gentle. Similarly, not all rejections are the same. I think they come in two varieties. Some are where the fish take the item in, test it, and then spit it back out. But others are where the fish actually rejects the fly after approaching it closely and then turns away suddenly without contact. Both of these types of hits or rejections can be detected or undetected depending upon the circumstances. Depending upon the sensitivity of your setup and yourself, both may be felt as very soft or quick bumps, or seen as a slight pause in the leader. A floating indicator will likely show nothing though. If you are inexperienced at detecting sensitive hits, both types may go completely past you without being noticed. If you are good at detecting sensitive hits and are set up appropriately to do so, you may feel both, but might not have much chance to still turn that into a hooked fish. From what we have seen already, if we assume that fish react to a fly similar to how they react to another non-edible item, such as a twig, you have likely under 3/10 of a second to hook a fish before it possibly rejects your fly. And based on average human reaction times, most anglers are at a disadvantage in reacting that fast. So what can we do to improve that, or turn the odds more in our favor? Well, giving them something they want as opposed to something they are less interested in is one obvious way to get them to commit more and increase your hookups. That is, they'll hang on to your inedible fly longer and give you more time. That can mean a lot of things, from improving your stealth so the fish are less wary, to giving them a fly that triggers more of a response, to changing your presentation to more of what they are expecting. And these are topics for future videos as they require more time to go over properly. But there are other mechanics to the fly fishing process you can do to help yourself as well. This includes fishing a lighter and more sensitive leader that is both less affected by wind and water currents and also transmits physical contact on the line better. It includes fishing a tighter leader, which will help indicate movement from fish faster than a slack leader. And it involves using a good visible sighter that allows you to see activity before you may feel it. The human eye is very good at detecting movement, and in most cases you can see your line move before you possibly even feel it, simply due to the speed of light and how we perceive things. This all will help increase how fast you become aware of a hit, which in turn will greatly improve your odds. But you can also train yourself to improve hand coordination through exercise, and fishing for tough fish on a regular basis is one of the best practice methods you can adopt. Although video games are my favorite form of practice when not on the water, you can also learn to read the water better to improve your knowledge of where fish should be feeding. And in doing that, you can improve your instincts to better anticipate fish hitting. Working on these aspects of your fishing will help turn the odds more so in your favor rather than the favor of the fish. And in future videos, we will delve deeper into these topics. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe so you can be notified of future videos on these topics.